This Choircast podcast is brought to you by Fire and Silk by Megan Irene Turner. This book of original artwork and poetry spans the narrative of my own journey as both an author and an artist, and also elucidates on the words and illustrations as a glimpse into the metaphysical observer. I hope you enjoy. You can find it available now on Amazon.
Hey heathens, you're listening to the Deadly Faith Podcast, where religion and crime collide. I'm Lola.
I'm Laci.
And this shit is different.
The mind that was in Jesus, that mind is in me.
Without me, life has no meaning.
Why would God tell you what I'm thinking and tell you what I've said to my wife or my husband when you're not around? It's because I'm the pastor of the church and I need to know.
This is the only place where you can see truth.
Oh,
This is
different.
It's a different case. So today we're talking about Chloe Ottman. We're also talking about Holy Lands USA. So it's kind of a two-parter, a 2-for-1 special.
2-for-1.
Two for one.
Twofer? We're getting a twofer today.
Yeah. If you guys can hear in the background, maybe Eric will be able to cut it out, who knows. But if you hear faint dog barking, it's my neighbor's dogs, and I cannot control them, and they're outside.
No.
So I'm sorry if you heard them through the episode. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll mute as often as I can.
Yeah. But she's telling the story, so you're probably going to hear him, unless Eric's a wizard. So like
The podcast doctor.
yes, if you need a podcast editor, hit him up because he's
Shameless
amazing.
plug every time.
Shameless plug. Anyways, also on my side, we got our chickens and they're in our basement with me.
Yeah.
So like if you hear some chirping,
Okay. If you guys hear little baby chicks, it's Laci's. If you hear
Laci's.
dogs,
If you hear dogs
it's me.
barking, it's Lola. I might sound a little different. I've got a cold. So like we got a lot going on in this episode today. So just bear with us. Hey, then we interrupt this episode to bring you a message from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Fahlo. We love Fahlo. We are big Fahlo addicts over here. I have multiple bracelets of theirs and I just love them. So if you don't know what Fahlo is, let me tell you. So Fahlo is an animal tracking company. So what they do is they have these bracelets with little animal charms on them. And with each bracelet you buy, you get a tracking code that you can go down in the app and scan your little QR code, and then it lets you actually track that animal out in the wild. And they have multiple animals and multiple species. So like say you want to track a gorilla. Okay. You buy a gorilla bracelet, you get to track Tom 2. And then you want to buy another gorilla bracelet, you buy another one, and then you get to track Billy. So they have multiple different animals to track. So
they have names.
They do. They have names and it's so cute. And all of the, or 10% of the proceeds go back to the foundations that they have working with them that actually go out and rescue the animals or get the animal and put a tracker on it. They're trying to help these animals keep from going extinct. So it's a great, great cause. So they have sea turtles, lions, sharks, polar bears, penguins, dolphins, elephants, giraffes, gorillas, and they just added sloths. I'm in tears. I want one so freaking bad. My husband did make the point that like that'll probably be the slowest moving dot on your map. he has a point. He's
Just let them fucking vibe.
just let him
good.
vibe. It's a sloth. It is a sloth. So if you would like to go get yourself a bracelet, do so and use code LacyBean20 to get 20% off your order. If that code doesn't work, use Deadly Faith. We are trying to get them changed so that they match the podcast, but shit happens. So use LacyBean20 for 20% off. Link is in the description box or the show notes. Back to the episode.
We're working with a lot, and this is a doozy. So we're going to take this in 2 parts. So the first part, I'm going to talk about Chloe and her story. And then the second part, I'm going to talk about Holy Lands USA.
Okay.
So this is not a religiously charged crime.
Okay.
This crime is not committed by or because of religion. The individuals involved in it are not religious.
Okay.
This is a terrible case, terrible tragedy that happened to take place at a religious landmark. That is all. So we just need to make sure that we make that separation at the get-go. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and do my trigger warnings for this one. So we've got rape, murder, sodomy, graphic details, substance use.
Holy shit.
So different.
That's a list.
Yeah.
That's a list.
Yeah. This case, you probably haven't heard about it because like 10 people have covered it. Not even like YouTube or like, I mean, there's a couple of YouTube videos of like people touring the place and being like, oh, this happened there. But
I have to ask, how did you find this case? Because I've never heard of it. I have no idea what we're about to get into.
I wondered if there were religious landmarks in the USA. Because I don't know. So I was Googling those and I came across Holy Lands. And then it was like, was looking up Holy Lands USA on YouTube. And then it was like, oh yeah, a murder happened there. And I was like, do what now? Who's it?
So it was a rabbit trail moment that led you to this. Okay. Been there, done that.
Yeah. I had no knowledge of it from like other content creators, nothing like that. So there's not a lot of information. And most of the information on the internet is misleading or it leaves out important details. So I'm hoping today to clear that up for all of us while sharing the story about these people and this terrible thing that happened.
Lola went the extra mile with this case. She really did,
I
guys.
tried my best to. I just want to say again that Chloe and her murderer were not religious.
We're not religious.
Yes.
And that's fine. Like we said in the beginning of us in doing this podcast is there are going to be cases across the entire spectrum. And sometimes there's cases that we just like really want to talk about and we really want to bring light to them. And religion plays a very little role in it, or they were just religious themselves or whatever it may be, but we just really want to tell the story. And so it's our podcast. So we're going to talk about that. And then sometimes like, you know, the episode that just came out, the Children of God cult was like, it was all religion, you know? So we're here to cover the whole spectrum. We are inclusive in this sphere of the podcast network. So
we are inclusive in that way. I love that. Yeah. So I had the privilege of speaking with Chloe's dad. His name is Derek. And we got to talk on the phone about like the months leading up to the incident. And then afterward, like post murder, his thoughts, his feelings about it, how it affected the community and what have you. So I will say, just before I start getting into the details of what Derek and I talked about, Derek didn't tell me to say this. I'm going to say it. Please refrain from watching a short episode online called Frenemies. This was made unethically. It does not tell the true story of what happened to Chloe. And if you Google, Chloe Ottman, if you look it up on YouTube, one of the first things to come up will be this. It's called Frenemies. I don't recommend watching it. It's just, I don't want to give any more money or light to this content.
Because they took, Lola, we jumped on did we have an interview right after you had that call? We jumped onto something.
I don't know what we did. I thought we just talked on the phone. I don't know anything.
I cannot remember, but we were FaceTiming of some sort. And I just could see Lola's face. And like we said in the very beginning of doing this podcast is if you can talk to a victim's family member or like somebody that's had a case, a crime committed against them or a loved one, that it just changes you when you sit down and like hear the story from a victim themselves. It completely changes you as a person. And Lola got on and I could just see it in her face. And she was like, there's just something about this. And I said, I get that because I spoke with Lucas Leonard's sister. And that is a case that will never leave me, ever.
You've gotten to talk to victims before and victims' families. And not only that, you're a trauma recovery coach. So like you hear it firsthand all the time. I read about it. I hear about it. I see it from a distance, very, very far distance. I have never been this close before. But something about Chloe and her case really shook me up. And it made me keep digging because like I had my notes. I had everything. And then I found Derek online and I was like, ugh, I feel like I need to ask him his thoughts on this,
Yeah.
And, I kept digging to find more information on Holy Lands and all that shit. So,
which, yeah, I commend you for taking the time
Thank
to
you.
just sit there and talk with him. They spoke on the phone for, what was it, like 2 hours?
2.5 hours, something like that.
2.5. That's amazing.
It was
it's just
an honor and a privilege. He's a fun dude.
I love
hated
it.
having to make him rehash things, but he's doing really well now. So
yeah,
very
that's good.
Grateful for that. So on July 16th of 2010, not that long ago.
Oh, wow. 2010.
I know. Everyone's like, oh, this is going to be from the 90s or 80s. No, this is now. So July 16th of 2010, Chloe Ottman's parents reported her as a missing person. Search parties went underway very quickly because Chloe was a beloved friend, classmate, and daughter. So I want to talk about Chloe first.
Okay. You said classmate.
Yeah.
Oh, God. How old was she? I don't like this.
Yeah. So Chloe was born on April 1st, 1994.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So she was 16 when she was reported missing. She was a student at Crosby High School in Connecticut. Her parents divorced when she was about 3 years old, and the divorce took about 3 years to be finalized, which was extremely difficult on Chloe.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to say, I talked with Derek because most of this information that I'm about to tell you is from him. So,
okay,
all these little minor details, it's all Derek. Thank you, Derek, for that.
So nice.
So yeah, it was hard on Chloe. Weird adjustment period, being that little and having a really long, drawn-out divorce.
Oh, I can't imagine. I really can't.
She was a caring person. She was open, and she made friends easily. I mean, I think she was extroverted. She had a classic emo haircut.
Oh my God, I love it.
I love seeing all her selfies. Very prime early 2000s.
Can you text me a picture of her? I want to see. I don't know anything about this case, so I want to see a picture while we go through it, because I just love those emo haircuts, and it's just awesome.
I love her smile. I think she has the cutest smile.
Oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
She's so pretty, yeah.
Oh, those bangs. It brings back so many memories.
Classic emo bangs, So she liked those artsy selfies. She liked the filters and stuff.
Yes. Oh.
She enjoyed, hanging out with friends, and she was very outgoing.
Yeah. Oh.
She looks so happy in so many photos.
Yes. She looks fun.
That smile is just unforgettable, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I gather, just based off of her friends, there was one news interview where they interviewed a couple of her friends. Just from what they said about her, they felt safe to talk with her about their struggles, their trauma, just whatever's happening at home. It seemed like she was the person that you could tell your secrets to, and it was safe.
She was that friend.
That's what it seems to me. Yeah.
She seems like the friend that everybody would want.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like she's probably a safe space for a lot of people that had it rough.
Yeah.
So when she cared, she really cared. And Derek said that Chloe was a really funny person. I had to comb through a lot of her old friends' YouTube accounts from 2011.
Oh, gosh.
Some of the users are not active, but the videos are up, the Rest in Peace Chloe videos.
Oh, okay.
There's one I got to hear her voice, and she's just very funny in the video when she's talking. She's trying to pull a prank on somebody over the phone. It's cute.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And she did not like to offend anyone. Derek said that she was just not the type that was she didn't want to hurt your feelings,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it sounds a lot like me in high school. This is why it resonates so close with me.
I wasn't going to say it because I didn't know you in high school, but just like how she is being represented to me and just how much I know you and things you've told me about your husband. I'm like, this sounds a lot like Lola.
I think that's why this case like shook me so bad is because
you see yourself in her. Yeah.
I feel like we would have been good friends is the thing, you know? And I hope that's not over the line for me to say, but I feel like if I had known her in that time, maybe if I was her classmate, I just feel like we would have gotten along really well. Her relationship with her parents growing up was like that of most preteen, teenage girls. You know, they had fights, but they also had good times.
Yeah.
She was kind of moody sometimes. That happens. Hormones and all that shit.
Oh, yeah. I called my mom a bitch one time when I was...
You did not.
I did. Because I didn't grow up in like a religious house. I threw myself into religion like later on, but like it was like right in the early like preteen, early teen stages. Like I just remember yelling that I hated her and called her a bitch. And then like she came in our room, she's like, I hate you too. And then like walked out. The emotional stability was not there for us.
No, yeah.
Or emotional regulation for everyone.
You were both learning still.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So Chloe, I feel like this kind of speaks to her extroverted self. She used to go on these things called epic adventures. So she named them epic adventures.
Oh my gosh.
And so she would go like once a month with some friends really early in the morning. They'd leave out on like a Saturday and they would spend the whole day walking around their town, Waterbury. And they would like meet new people or they'd like explore new places. I don't know. They would just,
oh my gosh,
do a bunch of stuff. And then at the very end of the day, she would go on Facebook and she'd make a post listing everything they did, who they talked to, like, oh, I met this homeless person. And, oh, we did this and I ate this and I said this. And she would just name her whole like list of things she did that day. And people loved it.
She sounds so fun.
I know. Well, people loved this. Like Derek said that people would comment on this and be like, oh, I'm so jealous. Or like, that looks like so much fun. And he said she was a great storyteller. So she could really like hook you
like it.
easily, you know, on the post. So
I love that.
But Chloe was also a teenager that makes mistakes. So,
yes.
Who doesn't, you know?
Oh, God.
She...
Don't judge me off my teenage years.
No. If you knew me as a teenager, forget me back then.
Right.
I don't know who she was.
I don't know. There is nothing more embarrassing than like my teenage years in the cult. Facebook posts popping up as like memories.
Oh, I hate memories on Facebook. God.
Oh, they have like, shut your damn mouth and walk away, Facebook. It's so embarrassing.
I just want to smack my younger self sometimes.
We were all so dumb. So dumb.
Well, Chloe, she got into partying a little bit. She used alcohol. She used MDMA and ecstasy and pot, which typical partying drugs, like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
About 2 months prior to her death, Derek told me that he came to pick her up from a friend's place and she smelled heavily of pot. Like he said, it just like, it was there, but like not, I can tell you smelled. It's like, wow, you've been smoking probably a lot for a while.
You've been laying in a bed of weed, honey.
It was a lot. So he said that he had mentioned to her, it just said like, I'm a little bit disappointed in you for doing that, you know, and was trying to talk with her about her future and like how he wanted success for her. He wanted her to be healthy and have all the things that she wanted.
Yeah.
He's telling her this while he's driving her to her mom's house.
Yeah.
To drop her off at her mom's. And she had a bit of an overreaction.
Oh, teenagers.
And she lashed out and assaulted her dad. She hit him really hard a bunch of times when he was driving too, which is like, girl.
Oh, shit.
She also at one point threw, like he had bought her a coffee from Dunkin' Donuts or something, and she had thrown that at him. And
Oh, girl.
so it was a very tumultuous car ride. It was very like back and forth because he was not willing to take her. He like passed by her mom's exit twice because he was like, I'm not going to drop you off if you're going to act this way. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to calm down.
Yeah.
We'll have a conversation about this.
Shit.
But she, you know.
But also she was under the influence of something.
I was going to say,
at least weed.
We don't know what all like was being used besides pot maybe that day.
Yeah.
So like an overreaction like that, maybe it was, you know, due to using something.
Yeah. And not all pot is like downers and like.
No, for sure.
I got high one time. And Jesus Christ, guys.
She got so high this one time. I was there for it.
It wasn't that long ago, okay, guys? I bought a gummy and my husband's like, let's split it. And I had done gummies in the past. We used to live in Oregon. That's legal. So it's never affected me before. If anything, it gave me the munchies. That was it. So this time I took this half a gummy. I was dodging motherfucking airplanes.
She was not.
For hours.
She was an unwell woman.
I was unwell. I was an unwell woman. And I knew I was cognitive enough to know, like, this is just like, I'm high as fuck. But I also, like, if I'd been even worse, I would have gotten so paranoid. Cause like I was on the verge of like becoming paranoid. And so like I can, who knows how her body was reacting to something. And also you're a teen. You're a teenager. Oh.
And a teenage girl. Come on. But yeah, she was under the influence of something at the time.
Yeah.
But definitely pot.
Definitely pot.
And
he smelled the pot.
Eventually it kind of lulled to a like calm place. She seemed to be like more mild mannered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was just saying, I love you. I care about you. And I just am trying to level with you here. Because if you keep going on this path that you're going on, you're not going to be able to have all the things that you want. You're not going to be able to be the person that you want to be and who I want you to be. It's just not going to work. So here's a couple of things that I think maybe would help. And he said that he mentioned like it was like 6 steps of things that she could do to help her be more successful.
Yeah.
He didn't list what those things are, so don't ask me.
Okay. You got, no, it's fine.
But she seemed to kind of like, okay, whatever. And then
somewhat receptive.
Yeah.
But not
she wasn't
deeply.
like overly into the idea at the time. But later on, he had a proud dad moment. And I just thought I would go ahead and put this in here because it was a couple of weeks later, he was picking up her and her boyfriend. I'm not going to use his real name. He did tell me his real name. You won't be able to find it because I wasn't able to online. Okay. I'm just going to call him John though. Because he was underage for this case, I believe. Okay. So he was picking up John and Chloe and she said, hey, Dad, do you remember telling me about those 6 steps that you thought could help me be more successful? Well, I was talking with John about it. We were talking about our futures and stuff. And I feel like it would be beneficial if you could tell him about those steps too, just kind of like more detail.
Aww.
So he was like, oh, she listened. Like she was listening to me and,
Teenagers are really good at doing that. They're
listening
like.
without listening.
Yeah. Like they're listening. They're taking it in, but they don't want you to know that they're listening. And I did that. I did that all the time.
Yeah. No, same.
You can't let your parents actually think that they're right or they know something.
So a couple weeks later, whatever, they have that conversation. A little bit about John. He was also in with the partying scene with her. Okay. Derek said that he was a good kid. He was like, I know he was smoking pot and he was like partying a bit, but he said overall he was a good kid. He graduated and went to community college and everything. And he was like, he was on a path to success in his own way. So
he was in community college at this time?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So John had a friend named Francisco Cruz. I'm just going to call him Cruz.
Okay.
Because every time I say Francisco too quickly, it's, Francisco was, see, I just said,
See?
whatever. Cruz was a little bit older than them. I mean, like a year or two, not like,
Okay.
he was around 18, 19 at this time. So they're all hanging out. They're going to parties. Derek said that when he saw pictures of them at parties, he noticed that Cruz was always in the back or like kind of like off to the side, leaning in a little bit, maybe trying to get in. But like he was more of a wallflower type dude. Just like,
Okay.
not quite fitting in, but wanting to.
Was he more like of an introvert type?
I'll tell you more
person?
about him in a minute.
Okay. I'm jumping ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. So let me circle back to, I've told you about Chloe. I've told you about some main characters here.
Mm-hmm.
As the search picks up for her, they figure out that she was last seen at Holy Lands USA, which was a religious theme park that had been closed off. It was completely like, it was blocked off from the public, but I think it's like one of those places that like teenagers could sneak off to and like, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. A religious theme park?
I'll go into it later. That's way later. Okay. I know. I'm skimming right over it right now. I know. I also thought it was super fucking weird, but I digress. So she was her last known whereabouts were at Holy Lands USA, and she was last seen with Cruz.
Okay.
So.
Oh, shit.
She had texted both of her parents the night before, July 15th,
Mm-hmm.
and said, you know, can you come pick me up? Chloe called her mom, but her mom did not answer at the time that she was with Cruz. She texted her dad. Her dad was going out that night, and he said, what do you need? And she was like, can you come pick me up? And he's like, you know, I'm about to go out. Is it anything like emergent, you know? And she's like, nah, it's fine. And she said, can I come stay the night with you tonight? And he's like, yeah, I should be home around like 1 a.m. So you want to just meet me at my house around 1? And she's like, yeah, that's good. So that was it. It was fine. But he didn't hear from her again after that.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Had she said, hey, I'm with a fucking creep, or hey, I don't feel safe, Derek would have absolutely been there.
Absolutely.
He would not have thought twice about it. He would have been like, I'm not going out. I'm going to get my daughter. And that's that. He would have come to her rescue so quickly had he known what was happening this night.
But you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Yeah. So the two people that were the first suspects were John and Cruz. Now, John had been away at school, so he was at a community college, but it was like an hour away.
Okay.
So Derek said that like he was coming back like on the weekends to hang with Chloe and stuff, but he was about an hour away now. So he was like on his way home after he heard about all this. And then they were like, you're a suspect because, you know, it's always the lover, right? You know?
Well, yeah, I know. Right.
So
it's naturally where they go first.
And then obviously she was last seen with Cruz. So, you know, they're going to be like, well,
of course.
Good?
Right.
What happened? So
yeah,
let's talk about Cruz. So
God.
Francisco Cruz was an outcast. Like I said, in most of those partying photos, he's hanging near the back. He's standing off to the side awkwardly because he's an awkward dude.
Yeah.
He just didn't fit in, but he did want to fit in. Derek, this man is a researcher. I mean, he went full out. He went through every single one of Cruz's Facebook posts ever since his Facebook was created.
Shit.
Like 1,000 posts. So
but
many.
also the love of a parent. Like, I mean,
say more, you know? Yeah.
If something ever happened to my child,
you couldn't stop Laci. Come on, she'd be better than the FBI.
I have ADHD and I can hyper focus like a fucking mad woman. And so, like, if it had to do with my kids,
oh yeah, oh yeah. So
I'd burn some bridges. I'd take out.
She'd go full on secret agent style. Private investigator.
Absolutely.
Unhinged. Feral.
Unhinged.
For sure.
With the help of my sister-in-law, because she can research. She can find you. She can find you. She's really good. So with
Lock
her,
that in the
you're not
bank noggin.
Seriously. I'm not kidding. I could tell you some stories. It's amazing.
He told me that he was obsessed with ninja culture. You're going to laugh at that at first. I can hear some listeners laughing. Like
Cruz was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cruz was obsessed with ninja culture. So like ninja quotes, ninja poses, ninja fighting, just all things ninja. All things ninja.
Oh, God. I'm really trying not to laugh.
No, it's okay. When he was telling me this, I was fighting to not laugh because it sounds so fucking stupid. But later on, it comes back. Derek had a lot of really interesting thoughts on this, and I think that it holds a lot of weight. So,
okay. I don't know a lot about ninja culture besides...
I don't either, besides like the...
what's that show back in the like 90s?
Oh my God. It's on the tip of my tongue and it's not happening.
Is it? I was about to say My Three Ninjas, and I'm like, no, that's not it.
Turtles.
No,
not that.
The Ninja Turtles.
Not the Ninja Turtles. This has nothing to do with them.
It's the one with the kids and their grandpa is a ninja.
Oh my God,
like,
yes.
Oh, it has like, Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves Emily. They're like making fun of their older brother because he has a crush on the girl named Emily.
Oh my God. Okay, I don't know, but someone out there knows this.
Okay, I'm going to Google it while we keep talking. Go ahead.
I knew it.
I have to.
He also would post his like philosophical thoughts on his Facebook, which Derek said that like he had some like interesting thoughts, you know, like he could be a deep person.
All right.
But Cruz grew up poor. Both of his parents were not emotionally present for him. Did you find the ninja thing?
Yeah, 3 ninjas. I was close.
3 ninjas.
I was close.
Okay.
It's 3 ninjas. Okay, because I was close. By 3 ninjas. 3 ninjas.
Okay, Cruz grew up poor. Both of his parents were not emotionally present for him. So it's believed that he may have suffered from abuse and neglect from his stepdads. So his dad wasn't in the picture. Mom was. She just wasn't like emotionally there. And she married dickheads, for lack of better words.
Okay. And I'm just going to say allegedly, right? Because this is all coming.
No, I was going to say this is allegedly that this happened. No abuse or neglect was ever confirmed.
Okay. It's theorized, allegedly.
Yeah. Okay. So Cruz actually had dreams of becoming a police officer, and he was part of a program called Police Explorers, which I
know what this is.
I've never heard of this before. Derek educated me. Thank you for that. Because it is where you can shadow a police officer in the field. So you can see how they work the handcuffs. You can see how they interview people. You can see all the ins and outs of a police officer. Therefore, he was well-versed on how law enforcement operated.
Yes. The only reason I know about the Explorer program is Kendall Ray, her husband.
Oh,
Josh.
That's right. Yes.
He did it when he was younger. And he was I think he was in his teens. That's literally the only reason I know about it. Yep. Josh did it.
I wonder if that's still a thing. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I highly doubt it would be. Well, as police began questioning Cruz, he denied all involvement. He even helped search for her. He was all part of the search parties. He was active in the investigation to find her. And while in the interrogation room, he told a bunch of crazy, stupid stories. No, I will not get into all of them because I can't keep track with any of them.
Oh my gosh. Was it
None of them make sense.
Was it changing stories or just
changing? He's completely disconnected from reality at this point, trying to save his own ass. He's trying to, he knows how the cops operate. So he's thinking, oh, they know something, they're lying to me, or they don't know something and they're lying to me to try to get something out of me.
Oh my gosh.
But he's denying involvement until he comes up with his web of lies. The web of lies quickly is crumbling, and he easily confessed what happened to Chloe.
He just straight out confessed after that.
I mean, they had kept him in there for a while.
Yeah.
So
it's those interrogations, like they can be super intense. And I've seen some horrible interrogations where the investigators like don't fucking know what they're doing. But if you have the right investigator who like, there is an art and a science behind interrogation. And there is, I cannot think of them. They're on YouTube. I'll try to find them and link them in the show notes below. But they like tell a case, but they go through the actual interrogation footage. And they like break down the science and like why the cop is doing this or that or the investigator. And
interesting.
They've even talked about like when the investigators mess up. And so it's just like,
wow, I
can see how it would push a person to finally confess. You know, it's really interesting.
Oh, yeah. And if they don't give you like food too or something like.
Well, they usually try, the ones that like I've seen that are really good is like they befriend you from the moment you walk in. Like they are your buddies.
No, okay. I was going to say, Derek said that he was really impressed with detective work. He said he's not like anti-cop or pro-cop. He's just like whatever. But he said that he was pretty impressed with the detective's work that was interrogating him because he built such like good rapport with him so quickly. And it really, like, he made a connection with Cruz. And I think that's why Cruz ended up being like, ugh, and confessing. So.
And I've seen that in so many of them where they just like, you want a drink, you want this, you want that, what can I get you? And then they just like literally like, within an hour, you're like, we're BFFs, you know? Like, it's wild to me. Absolutely wild.
Well. So,
oh God, I don't know. I know the trigger warnings, and I'm like, oh.
Derek mused this for me. He said that Chloe's boyfriend lives an hour away, but guess who lives, close? Cruz. And he had always kind of had a crush on her. She had always seen him as a brother. She was just like, it was platonic for her,
Yeah.
And he said that he thinks that Cruz was ready to make his intentions known. That like, I can be the better boyfriend and I deserve you and you don't need to be with my friend John. And I can create an epic adventure for you that you won't forget. And it'll be with me and you'll fall in love with me.
Oh no. He used her epic adventures against her?
Yeah. You didn't know I'd be connecting dots like this, but...
Oh, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
And he gave a very detailed confession. Very detailed.
Wow.
And I'm glad that he did, but also I'm like, I hope I can trust everything that you said.
Yeah.
Derek seemed to think that, like, there were certain things where he was like, Chloe wouldn't do that, or like, Chloe wouldn't say that. Like, no, that's not real.
Yeah.
But the confession that I have laid out here is pretty much facts only. So.
Or what we believe to be.
Yes.
Truth. Okay.
July 15th of 2010, Cruz and Chloe met up at the Holy Lands USA theme park. He had bought some alcohol called Juice, Joos, which is an alcoholic energy drink. Chloe loved the energy drink Monster. So he just got something similar that would contain alcohol.
Okay.
So they walked to the top of the park where there's a slab of concrete near a cross exhibit with like the 3 crosses with the thieves and Jesus.
Okay.
And he started talking with her about John and their relationship and how he thought, I'm about to get super mad. I'm fine.
I can feel this.
I'm smiling because I'm so mad. He's trying to like talk her out of her relationship, and she's like, nah, like she's not into this at all.
Yeah.
But whatever. At this point, she is drunk when he's talking to her. So like, I'll go into this later about the park, but it is a huge park. So it may have taken them a while to walk up there. Don't know how long though. But they've been like sipping on this, drinking as they walk to concrete slab, whatever.
Okay.
So she's drunk. And at this point, he starts to grab and grope her. So like he grabs her.
While he's telling her like, stop dating John. Come be
I don't know if there was talking at this point. I'm assuming that there still was.
Yeah.
And he's like grabbing at her bum and just like touching her. And she is laying down on her side. So she's drunk. Okay.
Yeah.
She's drunk. She's probably dizzy.
Yeah.
But she keeps pushing him away. She's like, no, like she's saying like, no, this isn't right. I have a boyfriend. I'm dating John. Like, please stop, you know?
Yeah.
She is making it clear that she does not want this. She views this as a platonic relationship. She's not interested in leaving her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Doesn't care that he lives an hour away now. She's not interested in Cruz. Well, about the third or fourth time that he starts grabbing at her again and groping her, and he's kind of behind her, and she takes her elbow and she just rams it back.
Oh, yes, girl.
And you know what? Normally being drunk and everything, you probably wouldn't connect. But this girl, she fucking connected.
She fucking connected. That is.
And she knocked off his glasses as she connected. She hit him in the face, like square in the face. Badass.
Oh, yes.
She did it. Even drunk. Like, she doesn't miss. In the heat of battle, she doesn't miss. Anyway.
Right. So good.
But she was really upset. So she just like reared back, hit him with the elbow. Her parents had always taught her, if you're in a compromising position, you scream. And it's okay if you need to hurt somebody in order to save your own life.
Absolutely.
I think most parents would agree with this. You know, if it comes down to you or them, it's going to be them. So.
I literally told my oldest daughter, like, if something was to ever happen or somebody was trying to take you, if it's a man, you kick them, punch
scream,
them, grab them,
jab them in the eyes.
Them. Right. I said, go for the ball sack. Just
ball
go
sack,
for the ball sack every
eyes?
time.
Yes.
Every time. And then she's like, well, what if I can't get to it? And I was like, eyeballs are like pushed up on the nose as hard as you can. Like,
heal the palm. Anyway.
Yeah.
Laci and Lola self-defense class is up next. Anyway.
Right.
He put her into a chokehold. So she started screaming at this point. And he covered her mouth with his hands so that she could not. Unfortunately, this park is, it's pretty far away from the interstate. It is abandoned. Therefore, no one could hear her scream despite her screams.
No screams were heard. Oh, gosh.
That is the unfortunate part, but she did all the right things as far as trying to alert someone that she needed help. But as I said, he covered her mouth. I'm about to get graphic, guys. If you need to hop out now, go ahead. It's totally fine. See you later. Bye.
Oh, God. I can't hop out.
You can't hop out. He pushed her onto her back and jammed his thumbs into her neck, so on either side of her trachea. And
oh, my God.
He did this until she fainted. So this is the part of your neck that's going to cut off most blood supply. So after you don't get enough oxygen, your brain's gonna cut it. You know, your eyesight.
Is that a ninja move?
I'll get into it later.
Oh, God.
So he jams his thumbs into the sides of her neck until she faints. He undressed her and he raped her vaginally. In the middle of the attack, Chloe wakes up and he does it again. So he does the same thing. This happened a couple of times. She would start to come to and fight back, and he would just do the same thing until she fainted.
Oh, my God.
On the second or third time that he does this, though, he completely cuts off all blood supply. She's not getting any oxygen, and she does, unfortunately, pass away.
Oh, my God.
He made sure that she was dead. He said, I felt her pulse, and there was none. He knew that she was dead. And so he flipped her over onto her belly and he ripped her pants off and he raped her anally. He then stabbed her in the neck 4 different times because he said, I knew that she was dead, you know, but I wasn't seeing, I needed to make sure that she was dead.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I needed to make sure that she was dead. So he had a pocket knife and he stabbed her 4 times in the throat. But he didn't just stab her. He twisted the knife, severing every artery.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's bad. It's so bad. He jerked the knife around inside the wounds. So like she had been dead for about 20 minutes when he started stabbing her. This wasn't...
He eviscerated her neck.
I know I'm saying these details like back to back, but I need you to know that like Derek did tell me that when he raped her anally, he did finish inside of her. So there's no telling how long that took, you know? So this was not like a fast series of events that's happening here.
Yeah, and he had already raped her twice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had.
Vaginally before. I can't. Oh my God.
And then, you know, he stabs her in the neck. But because she's been dead for 20 minutes, if you don't know about what happens when you die, your blood pools to wherever gravity sends it. So she was laying face down. So all of her blood is going towards her face and her stomach. And so if you...
Right.
He's stabbing her on top of her, you know, neck, and no blood is coming out. And so it's making him think she's not dead because he can't see blood. So
because he's stupid.
He's a very stupid man. He's very stupid. Yeah. So Derek said that he twisted the knife and everything so that he could get blood. He said he pretty much had to see blood in order to feel like he had completely killed her. So after he did this, I know, that was a lot.
That's so sadistic. I can't.
It's a lot for an 18, 19-year-old to do. That's just... Like, don't forget these... This is a 16-year-old and like a 19-year-old.
I have no words. I just have no words.
Yeah. So he actually told investigators he thought of about 5 different ways to kill her when he was
raping her.
Mm-hmm. When he was like, he knew that he would have to kill her. He said in detail these 5 different ways that he had thought about killing her. So he learned a lot of violent techniques from ninja culture. So you were right in making that connection.
I knew it was a ninja move.
So Derek was telling me his thoughts about it. And he said that he thinks that, you know, ninjas, if you do them wrong or you reject them or you humiliate them, you just don't do that to a ninja. Like you don't fuck with a ninja, pretty much.
Yeah.
They will protect themselves at all costs. They will have their revenge. They will have the final word kind of thing. They're the ones that get out alive, you know?
Yeah.
And so he thinks that this humiliation, this rejection, just brought something out in him that he saw that protection from ninja culture and like identified with it so greatly that he took it to this level. Not to say if you like ninja stuff that you're going to do this. Like ninjas are cool and all that. Like it's fine. It's fine to watch the anime and all that. And
I just can't. My brain feels like
mush.
That there was a lot. There was a lot stirring in him. And
which is also what Derek thought. He was like a kid growing up in poverty. If he was abused and neglected, no one looked out for him. He was awkward. He didn't fit in. I feel like there's even more like dark, like with on top of all that emotional stuff, like there was dark things because I'm just like, you don't just like in a second, like, yes, I see where I see what he means. Like with like the ninja gave him that, the ninja culture gave him that. No, yeah. You're right. There's more to the story. There's another piece of the puzzle there that's maybe I'll make it click in a second for you.
Okay. Then I'll stop because I'm like, oh my God. Okay, just keep going.
No, yeah. So he ended up taking her own clothes and wrapping her in them to stop the blood from, he didn't want it to stain the concrete slab, and he dragged her body into the nearby woods to conceal her. After he made the detailed confession, he did lead investigators to her body. So she was found pretty quickly.
Oh my gosh.
He told investigators, Derek told me it was kind of like, not casual, but like when he was explaining, they're like, why did you kill her? You know, like,
yeah,
after you raped her, why did you feel the need to kill her kind of thing?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, he acted as if that was the natural thing to do, because he was like, well, I didn't want to go to prison for rape.
So you're going to go to prison for murder? Like, I don't understand when people do this. And he's not the only one. Like,
no, I think that this is, okay. I think this is just so stupid. This whole thing is just so stupid, you know? Like,
yeah.
And he just made it seem like, you guys would do the same thing, right? You know, like,
no.
After you rape a girl, you have to kill her, or else like they'll have the evidence. But he, and Derek told me, he was like, he finished inside of her. And like, there was so much physical evidence there already going to be there, whether she was alive or dead.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have mattered. You were gonna get caught either way. So like,
either way,
it's crazy. It's
stupid.
So stupid.
Senseless. I hate, these are the murders that make my blood boil, because it's like,
you can't wrap your head around it.
I can't
make peace with it in any way.
And it's people, okay, it's the Anthony Todt, whatever the fuck you say his last name.
Todt.
You will not convince me that he did not murder his family because he was being investigated by the FBI and the IRS or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was his way out.
Yeah.
He used that as a way out. And it's like, so you'd rather go to jail for being a family annihilator?
Super fucked up priorities.
Instead of, it's like, I don't get that thought process. And the only thing with Cruz is, like, he's still a teenager, I guess, or like early 20s at this point. So like, his frontal lobe's not all developed. So like, he's got that excuse, but that's it.
No, yeah. The decision-making skills are not there. The emotional maturity is lacking. Like, there's just not a lot of emotional regulation happening there for him.
No.
Yeah.
And to know, like, okay, you snapped, but then like, you're going to be in the police interrogation and be like, well, I had to.
This probably isn't the full story, though. His detailed confession, even as detailed as it is, like, this probably isn't the full story, which is like a difficult thing to wrestle with. I'll tell you about his sentence, though.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
on June 17th of 2011, he took a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. Cruz pled guilty to murder, but he did not plead guilty to rape. He was convicted of both. And sentenced to 55 years in prison. So 2065 is the estimated release date.
No.
Which is too soon for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
The last statement that the judge made to Cruz was, "You will be removed from society as you should. Every day you wake up, the place you're in is the place you'll die."
I'm shooketh.
Can you imagine a judge saying that to you?
Seriously.
Well, I want to talk about her family and like the post-tragedy events that happened. So a vigil was held for Chloe on the 1-year anniversary of her death, and it celebrated her life. Her friends and family gathered with candles to remember all the good things about Chloe. They wore her favorite color, which was purple. And so everyone in attendance, they wore it, or they brought purple flowers, purple things. And Derek, he was transparent with me that he had a really difficult time with her passing, which what parent would not be completely devastated?
Put me in the hospital. I'm not being,
no.
Like, I know it's funny, but it's like, I'm being 100% serious. Like, I would not be able to cope.
No parent should ever outlive their kid.
No.
That should just be a rule across the board. But
it's so tragic.
Derek, he unfortunately suffered from some graphic hallucinations in the wake of her death. And her mom, unfortunately, did turn to alcohol. And we are hoping that Chloe's mom will find healing soon for that. Derek, fortunately, he shared with me that he came to understand and accept the reality of the situation, accepting he could not change what happened. He couldn't go back in time and reverse it. This is the new reality that he would have to sit with. And that's probably the worst part for anyone dealing with grief. And I'm really happy that he's made peace. He said accepting the reality of the situation brought him a lot of peace. He previously worked for the state's DFC division for 11 years. So he had read and seen a lot of... that's Department of Family and Children. Sorry, I didn't explain that.
I was trying to the acronym in my head and I was like, department. That's all I've got so far.
Yeah, he worked there for 11 years. So he had read and seen a lot of horrible things prior to her murder. But he had always been able to separate work from home. But now this was something that he had to deal with at home. So it was just reality hit different this time.
Yeah.
But he said that he was able to understand that both Chloe and Cruz could have made different decisions. Things could have gone different. They both had the power to make it different. And they didn't.
Oh.
He said that, Chloe could have left. She could have told her parents exactly what's happening. She could have been transparent about the situation. Obviously, Cruz could have not done the things that he did. He could have walked away. He could have taken no as a no, as he should have.
Exactly.
Derek told me his thoughts on Cruz's frame of mind. He said, I'm paraphrasing here. A guy who grew up in poverty with shitty parents, no one's looking out for him. He began this fascination with all ninja things who are protectors and strong, and so he took all of his knowledge and he took it out on Chloe. And his actions, obviously, were, he did it of his own free will. No one forced him to do it, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
He could have chosen differently, and he just didn't.
Yeah.
Derek did say he felt like Cruz turned into a different personality or a different person when he was murdering his daughter. He said, upon meeting this person, talking to this person, it's that doesn't compute.
Yeah.
Just completely different. He was just a kid that didn't fit in. He was just a kid that was rejected.
It seems like it all just boiled to the surface, or it was always there, but then this just I don't know. It's
like you said, it's a conglomerate of things, bad things that just stirred, and it's little things, and then it just Chloe happened to be.
I do want to say that I feel like Chloe trusted him.
Yeah, I mean...
She was friends with him in some way, shape, or form.
She viewed him as a brother, just a friend of my boyfriend.
I have a hard time with the thought of she could have done something different because she did have so much trust for him. And yes, she was under the influence, but he knew what he was doing. That's not her fault. And even if she wouldn't have been drinking, I don't know that would have changed anything. He was set on doing what he was going to do. And in that moment it came. And so I just have a really hard time. I have a hard time saying she could have made a different decision.
No, yeah. I think really what Derek was trying to get across was that she could have chosen a different crowd of people to be around too. She could have chosen not to drink. She could have chosen just a lot of different things in that moment, and she didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't her fault at all what happened to her. She wasn't asking for it. She didn't deserve it in the slightest. She could still be here today. I just wish she would have told her dad what was happening.
When did she call him and her mom? Was this
It was at the point where he said, Derek told me on a creepy level, scale of 1 to 10, he said that it was probably around 2.5 to 3 dial, where he was getting kind of creepy and being I like you and I think you should leave your boyfriend. And he was getting a little too touchy.
Oh, gosh.
And I think that's when she's like, oh, I gotta call my mom and tell her where I'm at. Or like,
Right.
It wasn't that bad at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think. It was just getting uncomfortable.
And there's no way in her mind she would have thought that it would have ended like this. There's absolutely...
And he had said she wasn't the type to offend a person. I'm assuming that means a little bit of a people pleaser, maybe. I totally understand that. And as a teenage girl, I think just a lot of teenage girls, we just, liked to make people happy. Tell people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
It's just it's part of it. So...
Exactly. And when you're in that situation, I cannot imagine the situation she was in. But as a female, if I am in a position or in a situation, and she may have not been thinking or feeling this, it makes me feel like she was, in a sense of like she was already calling her parents to try to come and get her.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in that situation with a male and you are starting to feel creepy or creeped out,
mm-hmm.
you're racking your brain on like, what's the safest way for me to get out of this situation? And a lot of times that includes people pleasing.
It does,
because heaven forbid you tell a man no. Like we have started wars. Men have started wars over that shit. Like
very true.
Heaven forbid you tell a man no. And so you're trying to stand your ground while also like get yourself out there safety without offending them. And that is a balancing act.
Yeah.
That is sometimes impossible.
Unfortunately, as a woman, we both know, being a woman, that men don't like to hear no. Their egos can't take it most of the time, it seems. If they're not emotionally mature enough to like respect a person and their bodily autonomy, they just like lose their shit.
And how many times have you seen the videos where like a girl is rejecting a guy hard?
Oh, yeah.
And she's being to the point where she's being aggressive and like straight out blunt and somewhat rude. And then all the comments in the video are, why couldn't she be nice? Why couldn't she be nice?
Yeah.
Because of exact reasons like this, because Chloe is not the only girl. Chloe is not the only girl. And Chloe let him down easy. And she was nice and she was kind until he would not keep his hands off her. And then she cold cocked him with her elbow. Because you can be nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's still going to end the way it's going to end. You can be mean and it's still going to end the way it's going to end. It is the man's responsibility to take no for an answer as a no. Like a no is a full...
It's a full sentence.
Goddamn answer. It's a full sentence.
That's for sure.
And it pisses me off because you will also find videos of girls being nice and then the guys being relentless. And then all the comments are, why didn't you just get up and leave? Or why weren't you straightforward? And it's like, you can't fucking win. You can't fucking win.
We could go on all day about the no means no conversation for sure. A lot of things could have gone differently. Yeah.
Derek, I know you're listening. I just want to tell him that I'm sorry that he's had to live through this. And as a mother of 3, I don't have teenagers. I'm terrified for those days, honestly. But I can't imagine losing a child. I can't imagine.
There's no words that we can say that are going to make it better or anything.
No.
But hopefully by telling her story.
Yeah.
Maybe it could make a difference for somebody.
Yeah.
And if anything, he told me at a certain point, he was like, I think that Chloe would have liked having people talk about her this way. You know? Which I get it.
I get that.
We're calling her pretty. We're saying she's got ambitions and she's funny and,
Yeah. Okay. If I'm imagining myself at 16, like, fuck yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh my God, this podcast talked about me. So cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm glad. I hope that she can hear this then. For sure.
I know. Ugh.
Oh, I was saying before that, Derek had to come to terms with this new reality.
Yeah.
He said that he remembered hearing something in church from when he was a child, the Serenity Prayer. If you're not familiar with the Serenity Prayer, it's actually it's a really good prayer. It's a really good mantra, honestly.
Agreed.
Whether or not you're a religious person, it says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yes.
Excellent mantra.
Yeah.
He said that like brought him some clarity, because he said sometimes it just like the anger and the grief would just well up inside him. And he said it felt like it was acid eating him from the inside. It was so difficult.
Oh my gosh. Now that's a visual. Like,
I know.
Like I felt that.
I feel like he put it in some really, he put the right words to it, I think.
Yeah.
For any grieving parent, I think they've felt something at least similar to that. So,
yeah.
But Derek is still moving forward with his life. And I'm very happy that he's, healing. I'm so happy again that he talked with me. Derek, thank you for that. And for all the information that you gave on, Chloe's life in this case, because there was so much misinformation.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we could clear up a lot of that here.
Yes.
If you're interested in knowing where Cruz is, he's at the Connecticut State Penitentiary.
And I hope he is having an awful time.
All of his personal information is online. If you want to see it, you're more than welcome to. I don't give a fuck. Whatever.
I can't. I have not 1 ounce of sympathy.
I think Derek does have sympathy for.
I know you said that. And
Yeah.
I
think we need to talk about that too.
Sir, you are amazing. How do you have this sympathy for him?
I think so. Derek understands. I put myself in his shoes, and I understand if I grew up in that kind of atmosphere, if I felt like an outsider all my life, and then I went and tried to take a shot at someone, and I failed, and maybe that was the tip of the iceberg. Like, he said, I can see it. It wasn't right, but like I can understand it somewhat. So he said that he hopes that Cruz will come completely clean about everything and understand his own unhealed childhood trauma, that it could help him realize the power of truth. And he said that like Cruz's lawyers, his mom, his supporters, etc., they allowed for a lot of bullshit stories and lies to take over. But hopefully Cruz, and if you hear this, Francisco Cruz, maybe if you could do the honorable thing and be honest with yourself, maybe you could feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And live a happier life, because that's actually what Derek wants for you. And that speaks volumes.
Jesus, this guy. Lola always says, and you guys have heard it before, that like she can't get behind the death penalty because like it's still a person, and like you can't help but like see the good in them, even like, or try to see the good in them. And I'm like, that is Derek in a nutshell. Like I feel like that encompasses like what you say all the time
he knows that there are redeeming qualities to this person. Derek said this over and over. This is a very human story.
Yeah.
His daughter, she was not a perfect person. She was a teenager that was learning how to be a human.
Oh, yeah.
And, she made some poor decisions for herself, health-wise and with friends sometimes, but she didn't deserve this to happen to her. And, different decisions could have been made, but we do miss her. We do love her. We do cherish, the time that they got with her. And this is not something that they can just let go. This is not a one-dimensional story. This is an ever-going story. There were so many lives that were altered with this on both sides.
I think Derek could teach some religious leaders a thing or two about redemption and
Big
forgiveness.
Agree.
And
Big agree. Yeah. I think in consuming true crime, it's easy for us to walk away from this.
Absolutely.
Like as hard as it is to talk about the stories together,
yeah,
you and I get to walk away from this and go back to our lives.
Yeah.
But Derek doesn't get to walk away. Her mom doesn't get to walk away. Cruz doesn't get to walk away. This is there forever. This is, unfortunately, their new reality that we've got to make something good out of. We've got to be better in the future. And we've got to honor Chloe's story and her memory, too.
Yes.
We cannot pollute her story. We can't make it fit a mold. We can't fit it into some narrative that we would like to make it fit into.
Yeah.
We have to just understand it is what it was.
Yeah.
And try to move forward from it.
Yeah.
I just want to say, real quick, that Chloe, if you could hear me now, I think that you're a really cool person. I would have loved to have met you. I would have loved to have brought you on the podcast to talk about anything.
Right.
Anything you want. Like I said, I feel like we might have been friends had we been in the same, lifetime, in the same area, in the same space. But you are missed very deeply, and you did not deserve what happened to you. So I'm very sorry for that. But we're trying to do better. We're trying to do better, aren't we?
I just realized she'd be turning 30 this year.
Does that hit close to you?
That hits so fucking close. Because I was born in 90, so she's very close to me.
I'm fine. I'm getting a little bit emotional. Anyway.
This is so heavy. Welcome to our podcast. It's all very heavy, but it's just...
I'm not feeling a sadness. I'm feeling like an honor that I got to tell her story in the first place, because I know it has been polluted by other people. It has been diluted down to something that it definitely wasn't. So I am just very happy.
And that makes me so angry, especially with one of them. They approached Derek. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lola, but they approached Derek, and he even told them, I don't like the way the direction you're going. This doesn't fit the truth. And
yes, so the documentary that we talked about at the very beginning, Frenemies, they had asked Derek for his his feedback on their production, or I don't know if they asked permission necessarily, but they were just asking him his thoughts on it. And he said, well, this is really not how the story happened. They were not frenemies or anything close to, this is not the story. And he told them he didn't really feel comfortable with them putting that out there, but they did it anyway. So it was unethical. It was disrespectful. It was dishonorable. I have so many words for it. And that's why I don't want anyone to give it any views.
And that is not, we have to be victim-centered when telling these stories. And we try our hardest to do that. And I'm sure we haven't been perfect, even in the, only the 30, 40 episodes that we've done so far. But if a victim's family member is straight up telling you, this is not how this happened,
just don't do it.
You're polluting my family member's story for clicks and views. What the fuck are you doing?
Right?
Get out of the true crime space. I'm sorry. You do not deserve to be here if you're just here for clicks and views. Get the fuck out.
No, these are real humans. This really happened.
Yes.
It really still affects people. It's real. It's true crime. It's true.
Yes.
Yeah. I admire the way that Derek put it to me, that he doesn't see Cruz as the villain and he doesn't see his daughter as the victim. He sees them as the people that they were.
Yeah.
The stories that, they lived, the lives that they lived, the memories that they made. He sees it as that. And he sees things very factually, I think. I admire it.
I can see how beneficial that could be in this type of situation.
Yeah.
And
anyway, so we'll close out on Chloe's story here. I'm very happy that I got to tell it. Chloe, I hope that you're happy that your name's out there for everybody.
Can I ask about the Holy Lands theme park?
We're going there now.
We are going there.
I'm transporting you.
I have questions.
I'm transporting you now. So I'm going to give you a full rundown on the place real quick.
Okay.
So
is this going to be our palate cleanser?
Maybe. Probably. Waterbury, Connecticut, Holy Land USA theme park. It used to be a religious theme park created in the 1950s, which was originally developed by a local lawyer and Catholic activist. His name was John Greco, I think is how you say it.
Greco.
Okay. It had various attractions inspired by passages in the Bible. So it was a park that was meant to provide a peaceful place for community to come together and has been a historic site of Waterbury for decades.
Sounds like it.
So he was native to that area, first-generation Italian-American who studied to become a priest at St. Thomas Seminary in Bloomfield and at St. Mary's Seminary in Baltimore, Maryland, before he graduated from Yale Law School and entered the legal profession. In the 1930s, he founded the Connecticut chapter of Catholic Campaigners for Christ, and in 1956 decided to take his message to the public through the creation of a religious theme park.
Okay.
So he spent his free time up on Pine Hill, where he and other volunteers built more than 100 buildings to recreate biblical visions of Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Plywood and plaster structures depicted sites like Herod's Temple, the manger where Christ was born. And to complement the buildings, Greco added yellow painted golden calves and a cast metal Christ on a cross, an exhibit of Holy Shroud of Turin, and catacombs extending underground for 200 feet.
Wow.
He went full out on this thing. He said, full send, baby, let's go.
That is, that's some dedication. I'll say that.
Not only that, he had representations of biblical figures and Catholic saints, which consisted of everything from high-quality European statues to old plastic mannequins.